listening to Bluegrass, Bill Monroe, Lester Flatt, and some of the speed as a kid, some of the speed that some of the songs were played at really got me excited, and that kind of perpetuated into country and rock and led me into a lot of other kinds of music that I love, a lot of different kinds of music.
You've worked with so many famous people as well.
Well, Clarence White with the Byrds was one of my top influences, and then obviously John Denver, as funny as it may sound, was big at that time, and the folk market was really opening up, and I was a big Van Halen and AC/DC fan for many, many, many years, and still am. And so at the same time of doing bluegrass, I was doing rock and roll at the same time, and once I got an opportunity to come to Nashville, Tennessee, Marty Stuart basically taught me how to respect country for what it is, and so that broadened my horizons quite a bit. So a lot of my influences were probably, the rock and roll and bluegrass stars of that time. It's kind of a yin and a yang, you know.
But through Gary Smith, I think you worked with Ricky Skaggs, didn't you?
Yeah, he asked me to. That was my first. I was a graphic artist in college, and I was working a day job, and he asked me to come to a session, and he was a piano player for Ricky Skaggs, and he said, "We need a guitar player for Ricky Skaggs. You're hired." So I moved, got an apartment, got everything set up, moved all my stuff, and they said, "I'm sorry, but the gentleman we asked to take the job at first decided he wanted it." So it was a pretty big disappointment for me, but it was actually really, really good for me to have that moment of doubt about the business. And I had Country Boy on my codophone, which is a great song. Albert Lee plays, one of my favorites. And his brother, Jack, played for the Forrester Sisters, which were a Warner Brothers recording artist that had some big hits in the time. And he heard that copy of Country Boy and said, "You're hired. If you can play that, you're hired." I think Marty Stuart's involvement for the 11 years I was with Marty, not that he ever got really big as an artist, but well-respected in the historic sense by all the other artists in the business, that when I worked with him, it was almost like our own Graham Parsons in Nashville, or our own Emmylou Harris type of nostalgia and respect. And so when I would do records for him, he would basically get called to do a record, and he would use his own band, and I got to commend him for that. I don't wear a Stetson, but if I did, I'd tip my hat to him. And he gave me my stripes and my professional clout, so to speak, to move on.
Tell us about the Brad Bender then, because you actually write, don't you, for a guitar magazine back home? And,
correct. Yes.
And the Brad Bender is something that you've developed.
It is. It's a string bending device on the second string of the acoustic guitar, and it bends the string, the strings up a whole step and a half step. I guess from playing with Marty Stuart, he had the first pull string on his Telecaster, and it made me think, wow, wouldn't it be really nice to have that ability on the acoustic? But I wanted something that was at the headstock and not at the body of the guitar. And so I figured out a way to put it behind the nut and ran with a cable so you could play a pedal and actually be playing pedal steel. And I call it the Brad Bender because it was convenient. And I got a patent on it about 17 years ago, and I've been using it in the studios for many years. And people they would seek me out and say, "We want you to come in with your Brad Bender," but it bends the string up a whole step and down a half step, and gives you a really neat window of creativity that opens up.
Thank you so much for listening to this interview. If you enjoyed it, please click on the like button and ring that notification bell. And there are many, many more to listen to on this channel, so make sure you subscribe if you possibly can. Thank you.